Peter Rabbit woke up early in the morning, feeling excited and a bit nervous. Today was the day he was going to go camping by the lake with his friends. He had been looking forward to this trip for weeks, and finally the day had arrived. Peter jumped out of bed, put on his favorite camping hat, and ran downstairs to the kitchen. His mother, Mrs. Rabbit, was already up and making breakfast. "Good morning, Peter," she said, giving him a warm smile. "Are you all packed up and ready to go?" Peter nodded enthusiastically, his eyes shining with excitement. "Yes, Mum, I've got everything I need right here in my backpack." Mrs. Rabbit chuckled and handed him a bowl of oatmeal with fresh berries. "Well, make sure you eat something before you head out. You don't want to get hungry on the way." Peter dug into his oatmeal, savoring the sweet and tangy flavors. As he ate, he thought about all the fun things he was going to do on his camping trip. He was going to swim in the lake, fish for trout, and build a campfire to roast marshmallows. He was also going to sleep in a tent under the stars, which sounded like a magical adventure. After breakfast, Peter said goodbye to his mother and set off to meet his friends. They were all waiting for him at the edge of the forest, their backpacks loaded with gear. There was Benjamin Bunny, Lily Bobtail, and Jeremy Fisher, all chatting and laughing together. "Hey, Peter," they called out as he approached. "Let's get going. We've got a long hike ahead of us." The group set off into the forest, following a winding trail that led them deeper into the woods. The sun was shining, casting dappled shadows on the forest floor. Peter felt carefree and happy, enjoying the beautiful scenery around him. As they walked, they talked about all the things they were going to do on their camping trip. Benjamin was looking forward to catching some big fish, while Lily was excited to explore the surrounding countryside. After a few hours of hiking, the group arrived at the lake. It was a stunning sight, with crystal-clear water reflecting the surrounding mountains. Peter couldn't wait to jump in and swim. The group quickly set up their tents and started gathering firewood for the campfire. Jeremy, who was an expert at building fires, got to work constructing a fire pit. Peter and Benjamin went off to collect kindling, while Lily started preparing lunch. As the fire crackled to life, the group sat down to eat. They had brought all sorts of delicious food, including sandwiches, fruit, and cookies. Peter munched on a sandwich, feeling grateful for his wonderful friends and the amazing adventure they were on. After lunch, they decided to go for a swim. The water was cool and refreshing, and Peter spent hours splashing around with his friends. As the sun began to set, the group gathered around the campfire to roast marshmallows. Peter loved marshmallows, and he was determined to get his perfectly toasted. He carefully rotated his marshmallow over the flames, watching as it turned golden brown. When it was done, he let out a satisfied sigh and took a bite. The marshmallow was gooey and sweet, and Peter felt like he was in heaven. As night began to fall, the group settled in for the night. They sat around the campfire, swapping stories and singing songs. Peter felt cozy and content, surrounded by his friends and the peaceful sounds of nature. Eventually, they decided to get some sleep, exhausted from their busy day. Peter climbed into his tent and snuggled into his sleeping bag, feeling grateful for the wonderful day he had just had. The next morning, Peter woke up feeling refreshed and ready for another day of adventure. He crawled out of his tent and stretched his arms, taking in the breathtaking view of the lake. The sun was rising over the mountains, casting a golden glow over the water. Peter couldn't wait to see what the day had in store. He joined his friends for breakfast, and they sat down to a meal of pancakes and fresh fruit. After breakfast, they decided to go fishing. Peter was excited to try his hand at catching a trout. He baited his hook with a juicy worm and cast his line into the water. As he waited for a bite, he watched the surrounding scenery. The lake was surrounded by tall trees, and the sound of birdsong filled the air. Peter felt at peace, enjoying the tranquility of the natural world. Suddenly, Peter's line started to tug. "I've got a bite," he exclaimed, his heart racing with excitement. His friends gathered around, cheering him on as he carefully reeled in the fish. After a few minutes of struggle, Peter landed a beautiful trout. He was overjoyed, holding up the fish for his friends to see. "Wow, Peter, that's a big one!" Benjamin exclaimed. The group decided to have a fish fry for lunch, and Peter's catch was the star of the show. They cooked the trout over the campfire, and it was absolutely delicious. Peter felt proud of himself for catching such a big fish. After lunch, they decided to explore the surrounding countryside. They hiked through the woods, discovering hidden streams and secret meadows. As the sun began to set, the group gathered around the campfire once again. They sat in comfortable silence, watching the stars twinkle to life in the night sky. Peter felt grateful for this wonderful adventure and the friends he was sharing it with. He knew that this was a trip he would never forget. Eventually it was time to pack up and head home. Peter said goodbye to the lake, promising to return one day. The group hiked back through the forest, tired but happy. They had had an amazing adventure, and Peter knew that he would always treasure the memories of their camping trip. As they emerged from the forest, Peter's mother was waiting for him with a warm smile. "How was your trip?" she asked, giving him a hug. Peter grinned, feeling exhausted but exhilarated. "It was the best trip ever, Mom," he said, hugging her back. Peter went to bed that night, feeling grateful for his wonderful friends and the amazing adventure they had shared. He knew that he would always cherish the memories of their camping trip by the lake. The next morning, Peter woke up feeling refreshed and ready for a new day. He couldn't stop thinking about his camping trip and all the fun they had. He spent the day telling his friends about his adventure, showing them the photos he had taken. As the days went by, Peter couldn't help but feel a little wistful. He missed the peacefulness of the lake and the camaraderie of the campfire. But he knew that he would always have the memories of their wonderful trip. And who knows, maybe one day they would go on another adventure together. Peter smiled to himself, feeling grateful for his wonderful friends and the amazing experiences they shared. Peter Rabbit went on to have many more adventures with his friends. They explored the forest, climbed trees, and chased after butterflies. But the camping trip by the lake remained one of his favorite memories. He loved the peacefulness of the natural world and the joy of sharing it with his friends. And every time he looked up at the stars, he remembered the magical night they spent by the lake. Years went by and Peter grew up. He went to college, got a job, and started a family of his own. But he never forgot the camping trip by the lake. He told his children and grandchildren about it, showing them the photos he had taken. And every time he went camping, he made sure to bring his family to the same lake, where they would spend hours swimming, fishing, and roasting marshmallows over the campfire.